We know that candidates often run out of time in the OET reading paper. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to manage your time effectively so that you can pass the OET exam. Let's go! Hello, I'm Jo from Specialist Language Courses. We are OET Premium Preparation providers, which means you are in the right place to pass your OET exam. Check out our OET Preparation courses, links below, and see how we can help you pass your exam. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you are the first person to know when we upload a new video. Let's get started. The material from this video is all taken from our online digital course Reach OET B, available for nursing and medicine. It has lots of great activities and advice to help you improve your reading, including test practice. So be sure to check it out, link below. First, let's review the format of the OET reading paper. In Reading A, you have 4 short texts where you have to complete a matching task, a gap fill task, and answer some short answer questions. Part B has multiple choice questions A, B or C, and Part C also has multiple choice questions A, B, C or D. Part A is 15 minutes long and Part B and C together is 45 minutes. Let's take a look at how you can manage your time in Reading A. The first thing to be aware of is there are 20 questions to complete in 15 minutes. And you have to use strategies, your reading skills and effective time management to score well. So you have less than 1 minute per question, which means you do not have time to read the text fully. Remember, Reading A is not testing your ability to read for detailed understanding. It's testing your ability to find information quickly. The first task in Reading A is the matching task. And if you can answer this part effectively and quickly, it can save you valuable time for the other tasks. So the first thing you should do is briefly look at the text and notice what kind of information is in each one, and notice any headings and subheadings. So here we have some sample Reading A texts from the OET website, and we can see that text A contains definitions of the injuries. Text B is about the management of simple fractures, and we have some subheadings here to notice. Text C is a table, and you should pay attention to the column headings and remember that there is often some extra information written before or after the table. We can see that text D is explaining the technique for plaster back slab for arms and legs. Notice that the procedure is written in the order that you complete it. So if you are looking for something which would happen towards the end of the procedure, you would scan the later steps in the procedure in the text, and this can save you some valuable time. Once you know the basic format of the text and what each one is about, you can then do the matching task, often without looking, only referring back to them if you need to. Here we have an example of a Reading A task about community-acquired pneumonia and the headings. Text A, a brief description of CAP. Text B, the risks of contracting CAP. Text C, the diagnosis flowchart of CAP. And text D, antibiotic treatment of CAP. We can look at the headings here and predict which text the answer will be in without having to actually read or check in the text. For example, question 3 is clearly going to be text D, as both are related to antibiotics. Only spend time on the answers where you are less sure. For example, if you have doubts about numbers 4 and 7, then these would be the only answers that you would actually check the text for. So I would definitely check text A and C for question 4, and I would probably check text B and C for question 7. What about short answer questions and the gap fill task? Let's take a look. To save time, you need to ask yourself 3 things. What information am I looking for? What words and phrases will help me find the answer? And which text should I look in? Here we have an example of some short answer questions from Part A. You need to be clear about the information you are looking for before you start to look for it, and this will maximize your use of time. Look at question 1. What should you stick onto an IV fluid bag after loading IV antibiotics? So here we can see we are looking for something that you stick onto an IV fluid bag, and the key words in the sentence, which will help us find the answer, are IV fluid bag and loading antibiotics. And we also need to pay attention to the word after. So let's scan for links to these words now. And quickly we can find the links. IV antibiotics can be loaded into and bag of fluid, and also after which, telling us that the answer is coming up. We have a paraphrase of stick onto, where the text says adhere to the outside, and so we can easily see that the answer is an additive label. The same can be applied to the sentence completion task. We focus on the type of information that we are looking for and the details which will help us find it, as well as predicting where to find the information. So, here we have the sentence, and we know we are looking for something which people are more likely to develop, and it will be a noun. We know it is beginning with a vowel too, as you have the article am. The words which will help us find the answer are severe cases and causes the spleen to enlarge. So let's scan the text. And very quickly we can find in severe cases and can result in enlargement of the spleen. And increasing a person's susceptibility is a paraphrase of makes it more likely for people to develop. So we can easily see that the answer is infection. Doing OET practice papers is not enough to improve sufficiently. You need to improve your skills. So how can you practice for listening A and improve the skills you need for this? Finding information quickly. Let's take a look at some ideas. Here we have an article taken from The Guardian about a new women's health plan being provided in Scotland. So what you can do is use a timer, set a time limit such as 20 to 30 seconds and scan for information that you have decided to look for. For example, you could scan through the article looking for numbers. Then repeat it again, scanning for verbs. And then you can repeat again, scanning for adjectives. This is exactly what you have to do in reading Part A. So decide first exactly what information you're looking for and then skim and scan the text to find the answer. It's easy to practice, and this is a good way of helping you in preparation for managing your time in reading Part A. What about reading B and C? How can you manage your time effectively there? Let's take a look. Parts B and C of the reading paper are done together. You have 45 minutes to complete 22 questions, and this is approximately 2 minutes per question. So this works out at about 12 minutes on reading B and 33 minutes on reading C. It is essential to read extensively, but also to train yourself with time limits. As you work on improving your reading speed and reading skills, become familiar with the strategies that you will use and combine them together. If you can't find the answer in the exam, move on. You can always come back to the question later if you have time at the end. And the best way to improve your reading skills and get faster is to read, read, read. The questions in reading C refer to specific paragraphs in the text. So one time-saving strategy is to number the paragraphs before you answer the questions. That way you don't waste any time counting paragraphs. Another way to improve your timing for reading C is to improve your reading speed. So here we have a paragraph taken from a Reach OET B Part C text. The average reading speed for an adult varies, but it would be about 250 to 300 words per minute. It's a good idea to know what your reading speed is and try and improve it. So, let's see how fast you can read now. Read as much of this paragraph as you can in 5 seconds. Go! Where did you get up to? Okay, now let's do it again and see if you can read a little bit quicker. Let's go! Did you manage to read more the second time? Once you've improved your reading speed, it's then important to focus on what you are reading. Let's take a look at an example. Here we have the same paragraph from before. What we can do now is look at the ideas presented in the paragraph and try and do this quickly. So, here we have the topic sentence, which tells us what the paragraph is going to be about. And we can see that it will be about the breastfeeding debate. Now let's look at the structure of the paragraph. So obviously first we have the idea that there's the debate on the topic. Then it talks about support for breastfeeding. And finally, it contrasts with claims by manufacturers for formula milk. Linking devices will also help you understand the paragraph well. And here we can see the contrast linking words which have been used, despite and in contrast. Finally, try to identify the main idea of the paragraph and summarize the idea in your own words. For example, while the debate about breastfeeding versus formula milk continues, there are many benefits to breastfeeding and only claims from formula milk manufacturers. The more you practice this in your time self-study, the easier it will become to manage time and not sacrifice comprehension for reading speed, but combine them instead. Now we understand the paragraph, it should make it easier to answer a question about it. Look at the question. Which is the correct option? That's right, it's option A. Even though it presents some claims from manufacturers of formula, the overall message of the paragraph is the clear benefits of breast milk. Now you have a try. Here we have an article about our need for sleep taken from the Conversation website. What I'd like you to do is quickly read through the paragraph and notice the topic sentence, then understand the structure, notice any linking devices, and identify and summarize the main idea of the paragraph. How did it go? Let's take a look together now. So the topic sentence here tells us that it was previously unknown which brain structure tells us we need sleep. So if we look at the structure, first we have that topic sentence, and then we've got evidence of new studies about the cerebral cortex. Linking devices used are although, until now, but, and which. And finally, the main idea of the paragraph. So recent studies indicate that the cerebral cortex helps us track our need for sleep, which was previously unknown. Top tips for time management in the OET reading paper. Which skills do you need to improve? Be clear about which skill you are focusing on improving. Do you need to work on your fast reading skills for part A, or do you need to work on your skills for part B and C? Timed training. It is important to read as much as you possibly can, but combine this with time training for your self-study as well, so you are actively working on your time management. Combine reading speed with strategies. The more clarity that you have about the strategies you need to use, the easier it will be to combine this with your reading skills. So I'd like to know what strategies you've tried for the OET reading paper. Let me know in the comments below. Do check out our website, the link's below, and see how we can help you pass your OET exam. And if you want more videos on this topic, click here. See you next time. Bye! We know that candidates often run out of time in the OET reading paper. So in this video, I'm going to show you. Do check out our preparation courses, links below, and see how we can help you with your OET study. Do subscribe. I've said do twice. Okay. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the red button, hit the bell so that you're the first person who knows when. Nearly. Okay, take 3. Let's look at how you can manage your time in reading. Once you've improved your speed at reading, it's useful to... Now we understand the paragraph, it should make it easier to answer. See you next time. Bye. Do it again.